Welcome to the Dr. Stacy Show, where we are talking about all things faith, love, and wellness. I'm your host, Dr. Stacy, and I'm super excited to be kicking off today's show. Each season, we like to tackle a theme, and this season, it's about being made well. I'll be talking to authors, doctors, everyday folks who are helping people to be made well and helping people to celebrate how they are designed by God. Today, I am super excited to introduce to my fan base here, Lauren Dorman. She is a New Jersey's go to school registered dietitian. She is a master detective of nutrition trends, a passionate change leader, and a creative problem solver dedicated to helping kids and adults untangle the complexities of food, body, image, and emotions. She is the owner and creator of Don't Diet Dietitian, as well as the owner of School's Master Food and Mood, where she empowers students from middle school to college through her transformative, strong student shift presentation, equipping them with solution focused skills to create forever health habits with ease. Lauren has a bachelor's degree from Penn State, a master's degree from Rutgers University, and over 2 decades of experience. She is a trusted expert in evidence based nutrition science. Her mission is to make reliable nutrition and health education accessible to all, helping individuals develop a confident and strong relationship with food, mind, and body that lasts a lifetime. Lauren, I am so glad to have you on the show. Welcome.
Thank you, Dr. Stacy. It's a pleasure to be here.
Well, I'm going to tell my guests because here's what happened. I met you. Actually, you were doing a presentation for New Jersey Counseling Association around the work that you do. And I was personally fascinated because I always love to listen to people in their spaces when they are experts in their space. And we struck up even at the table this conversation because most people struggle with like, what is a dietitian? So let's start there. Like, what's a dietitian? What's different from a dietitian, nutritionist? Share with our audience what even that means.
Sure. So, thanks for having me on your show. And I am so honored to be able to support your community with really navigating through this difference between nutritionist and dietitian and health coach and all of the things that are out there. So, I first want to start with what exactly a registered dietitian is because there is misconceptions out there. And someone might think that a dietitian puts you on a diet. And that could be far from the truth because in my work, it's not about diet. It's actually about designing a lifestyle that lights someone up and designing a lifestyle that gets rid of the things that drain them because it's your energy that impacts your food decisions and choices. A registered dietitian is licensed, is credentialed, is science backed, is evidence based, is the real deal, is reliable. Now, anybody can actually call themselves a nutritionist, a health coach. And since 2020, the health coaching industry has exploded.
Mm.
And we have to do our homework to make sure that they are credentialed and they are licensed because they could be giving some misinformation and deceiving information. And the last thing I want to say about dietitian is that would one of your audience members listening right now, would they ever go to an unlicensed dentist?
No, at least I wouldn't.
Right?
Yeah.
So think really kind of this new lens, think about that as, wow, maybe I am getting some unreliable misinformation when I'm listening to someone that's not credentialed. So if you're following anybody on social media, please make sure it is a registered dietitian that you're getting your sound advice from. Just the same way as you wouldn't go to unlicensed physicians and dentists and podiatrists, you wouldn't go to anybody in the healthcare industry that's unlicensed. So we are here and we are licensed and we are ready to support beyond the food because our food behaviors don't necessarily have to do with the actual food. It has to do from thoughts and feelings.
I
So,
love that. And I
yeah.
love you're talking about like that energy when you just said that that energy impacts your food choices. That's so key. So Lauren, talk to me because right, people assume that dietitian, and I give them because it's in the name, right? Dietitian about diet. But really, what do people like parents, children, even from young ages to college age, what are some of the services that like you provide specifically? How do you work with families around food behavior?
So I help children and families, especially the children, understand and know how to take care of themselves have belief in themselves because all of our behaviors with food choices and habit choices are belief driven.
Mm.
And they walk away with an understanding of, I'm going to figure this out no matter what. So it's less of the perfectionism and that I have to get everything right. And there has to be this perfect way of eating. I have to feel guilty or embarrassed or shameful for the way I eat. There's none of that because the cornerstone of our health is actually having a healthy and strong relationship with food, not the ingredients and the micro habits and the macronutrients and the carbs and the proteins and the fats. It really, people are really dissecting all that. And I truly believe, I know in my work that the more information overload from everything out there, the more we have self doubt,
Yeah.
the more we're confused, and the more that we're overcomplicating what true health and wellness really is. So, in my role, I take a look at the whole person and we talk about what are you thinking when you're making that decision? How is your energy level? What was your day like? Because a lot of people have this unkind mind.
Mhm.
And the truth is, it may have to do with them being really tired, really overwhelmed, really overstimulated. So it's the basics that I build on and the foundations and the fundamentals that unfortunately have not been taught to most people. Even at 30, 40, 50 years old, there's people coming to me. I mean, I see children from age 2 to, 92. I see a variety, mostly work with children and teens. But the truth is at any age, people have this moment with me. They're like, wow, I was doing it backwards, or wow, I believed that was the truth. It's a lot of unlearning and relearning skills.
I love that because I know we talk so much about how that family of origin, right? Like we learn skills and even around food and our relationship with food. I can think about going to my great grandmother's house, right? And again, it's Thanksgiving. Of course, food's there, but like comments that she would make. And it's like my sister and I still, as adult, we're like, okay, don't put your great grandma right now.
So tell me what those comments were, if that's okay.
Well, no, obviously, no, and it would be
Yeah,
like, right, don't eat too much of this, or
yeah,
hey, you're
yeah,
getting around. And we think about even the shaming around
yeah.
and going back for seconds, even,
So I
right?
think this is such an important point. When you can teach a child to have the self trust and to be self led and to check in instead of check out and really have that relationship with their body, understanding hunger, understanding satisfaction, understanding fullness. Like these are skills that a lot of people don't realize that a dietitian helps support you with. There's a hunger fullness scale that goes from 1 to 10, and I dive into that and I teach, and people are surprised. They're like, I was eating past fullness because I thought I was supposed to eat the whole plate.
Mm.
And then I wasn't hungry for the next 4 or 5 hours. I was stuffed and I was uncomfortable and I was bloated. And it's like, did you realize that you could check in and understand what feeling satisfied is
Yeah.
instead of eating past the point of fullness?
Well, and you know what, Lauren, that is so good for parents because how many times do we make the plates like adult size for the kids and we're like, clear your plate, eat
Mhm.
everything. And that's even messaging versus them. And then when they don't, and the kids are like, I'm full, and we're like, well, your plate still got
Yeah.
food on it, right?
I know, and there could be so much stress and anxiety and battles around the family table. I just want to let your listeners know if that is you or was you, that's okay. Like you weren't taught another way, but now that you have this new approach, there's no need for pressure and stress at the table. Believe it or not, that anxiety that the child feels, now their body is dysregulated and they can't feel their hunger. Right? Imagine someone, yelling or getting angry. Are we going to feel our body and connect with,
Mhm.
relaxing and digesting? So I always tell families try to play a game at the table. There's some really great card games with questions. Make it a really relaxing experience instead of finish your broccoli. You haven't had enough chicken. Really get the child to be more self led and in tune, intuitive with their bodies instead of that force and pressure, the child really will feel more confidence. Another skill that you can do is you can have your child actually plate their own food.
I love that.
And they feel such a like self-esteem, confidence, like I'm gonna pick this much and this much, and you're not pressuring them.
Yeah, and then they're gonna just have a plate full of mac and cheese, which I love too, and I say, "Listen, I'd rather them eat what they enjoy instead of having arguments," right?
Exactly. And it's really about the variety over time,
Mhm. That
not the day to day that makes a difference with their nutrient absorption. And we really want to think of food as more nutrient dense and less nutrient dense, not good, bad, healthy, unhealthy, junk, clean. Is the more that the parent labels the food, the more powerful the food becomes to a child. Whereas if we have food neutrality, food is just food and it's great, but we're not having this power struggle. We're not having these unkind thoughts. It feels really peaceful and easy.
and I love that because I always tease people, your body doesn't know that it's eating mac and cheese, for example, for breakfast, right? It's just food.
Mhm.
But in our mind, right, how we label it and say, "Oh, that's only breakfast food," or "You can only eat that." So I
Yeah.
love the idea of food neutrality and then even saying, "Okay, not just this one meal," because parents will stress that you have to have, your vegetables. But hey, listen, if they had fruits and vegetables over the course of the week and make this one meal they don't, then we're okay, right?
Yeah. Yes, the studies are showing that the parents who don't say, like, finish your broccoli and you'll get your ice cream, when they just don't use any of that language and they just make more of a peaceful mealtime, the studies show that the children eat the vegetable more often because when you have that language of pressure, then the ice cream becomes powerful and the broccoli, I don't want to eat the broccoli then because I want to get to that ice cream.
Yes.
So there's also another lesson for parents. Instead of saying like, that's bad, you've had enough, things that are really disempowering, parents can say, we'll have that later. We'll have that tomorrow.
Hmm.
Because you're not making it about the food, you're making it about them respecting and caring and nourishing their body in a way that really supports their brain, their energy, their strength, their mood, their focus. Like it's so much healthier for parents to keep reminding their children about how we take care of our brain and our bodies than making it about the food
Yeah.
labeling.
I love that. And I know, talk a little bit about like body positivity as you're talking about that, because I really think that's really key for parents and our messaging. And we may not even be aware of the things that we're saying that actually
Mhm.
body shame or shame our kids.
Mhm.
But I love that you're going down that route of like, again, that overall positivity, but even again, that connection.
Yes. So I just want to start with this statistic I want you to think about this.
Yeah.
75% of adolescents don't feel good in their body.
Mm, yeah.
And the studies are showing 40 to 70% of adolescents are restricting based on how they feel in their body.
Mm,
We are also overwhelmed with diet and wellness culture messages and images of perfected bodies that don't make us feel very good in our bodies. Because imagine we didn't have all these images that we were, were absorbed and were programmed that this is the way. And we actually thought about what am I grateful for about my body? What has my body allowed me to do today is a great question that a lot of my clients think about every day so that they can flip the script on their bodies being coming from this place of dislike and getting to a place of neutrality. So some people may love their bodies, but the truth is a lot of people are walking around with dislike. And you don't have to love your body in order to nourish it and be kind to it and respect it and treat it with like, appreciation. And those messages aren't out there that I think it's more like you have to love your body and you have to fix your body. But the truth is, we have a body to experience our life, not to be fixed.
and that's so good. The fact that our teenagers, right, spend a good majority of their time in their teenage years with that mindset, right? Like they don't like it. They want to fix it. They don't like what's broken per se, right? And
Yeah.
talk a little bit, because I know you go also into like schools with this message.
Mhm.
Talk a little bit about
Yeah.
doing and how you're changing the atmosphere even in schools.
Yeah. In fact, I was about to say, and that's great that you're talking about schools now. I was about to say that I have a lot of conversations with school psychologists, school counselors, school nurses, and health and phys ed teachers. And through those conversations in the last 6 months, I have learned I'm always asking them questions because what I have learned is I don't want to go in thinking they need to learn this. No, I need to learn what they need from me. And what they need really, they said that skipping lunch is the new trend.
Yes.
And then when I come in and I give this
Mhm.
program that teaches them six of effective strong student shift skills, all the S's, successful, essential, really empowering skills that have worked for my one on one clients over the last 2 decades that now I bring into the schools. What has been happening is their students are like taking care of themselves a little bit differently. They are, even if it's just one thing at lunch, having it, they're understanding, oh, if I go 3, 4 hours without eating and I am not physically hungry in my throat or my stomach, I'm still, my body still requires energy and fuel and nourishment, because then they start to realize, wait, I am getting a headache. I am losing focus. I am feeling anxious. I am feeling frustrated. And they didn't realize that their body's hunger signals shut down when they don't fuel their body regularly. And then it comes back once they begin to nourish it and have normalized eating patterns. But really, what the strong student shift for the students is helping them to create forever healthy habits in an easy, doable, they really feel capable. So they walk away with one micro habit that they want to work on, right? So everyone around them, someone might want to work on hydration. Someone else might want to work on movement. Someone else might want to work on eating their breakfast and eating their lunch every day regularly. Someone else might want to work on coping skills and shifting their self talk. So it's very individualized and unique and customized, which is what's missing out there, right? It's all one size fits all. It's all, I like to say destination self doubt or destination disconnect or destination distrust as well, where I come in and I give them this vision and this clarity and really making them problem solve and have a lot of critical thinking skills about questioning everything that they see for trust and for truth.
Mm. I love that. Yes. And one of the things I'm just thinking about, like, even when you just talked about like the students being able to take one thing, right? We try to throw so much at people and it's like they fail. And you have a program too. Don't diet dietitian, right? When you and I first had our conversation, I love the fact that you were like, no, diets are not what we
Yeah. Yeah.
talk a little bit about that mindset.
Or
Why
yeah,
we
and I
do
have the
diet.
students talking about not dieting. I have the students do an activity. It's diet wellness culture versus energized, strong student eating. And I also have them get into groups of 2 to 3 and really think about what happens when I don't eat enough. What starts to happen? And we talk about it and we have these conversations. And, dieting can cause a higher weight in the future,
Mm.
because what's happening is now your body is restricted and your physiology and your psychology and your biology is now, I need to eat all that because you weren't given enough energy throughout the day. Our bodies need energy regularly throughout the day to function. And when you try to restrict through dieting, first of all, you're not getting enough energy and you're not getting enough vitamins and minerals and like micronutrients. And these companies, again, they don't care about your overall total well-being, physical, mental, emotional, spiritual. They don't care. They only care about the billions and billions of dollars that they're getting from the disconnect and the distrust. And that's part of the 75% of adolescents not feeling good in their bodies. So when we have a body that's not nourished, we can't think clearly. We have anxiety, we have headaches, we have falls. I've had a girl at tennis practice pass out. And then I had a 73-year-old woman that fell and broke some of her teeth. This is happening because our brain and our organs need energy from calories. And I teach them calories are energy. Let's stop looking at calories as something that's bad or that we need something low in.
And I love that, moving away from calorie counting to really the holistic approach of that. When you're thinking about like, and oftentimes I would imagine as a dietitian, you are working with families where obesity may be in the family, right?
Yeah.
And so even the idea of, we see the statistics of our young children these days, and most adolescents or teens. What would be, and I guess the ways that you work around, yes, there
Mhm.
is medical condition of obesity, right?
Uh-huh.
And now how do we change lifestyle?
This is a really great question. The label of obesity itself can cause someone to have some complications, can cause
Mhm.
someone to not have a good relationship with food and use food to cope. So I think getting away from labels and talking about actual health behavior change, focusing less on the scale, but focusing on strength, energy, mood, focus, productivity, focusing on making the most of your plates. I have a power, if any of your listeners want, I'd be happy to send. I teach a power snack plate with the kids at the school than my private clients. And it's less about the micronutrients and the macros and this. It's more about there's four things on the plate. There's color, there's energy, there's strength, and there's brain power.
I love it.
So it makes eating fun because if someone labeled obesity in a larger body, I think it's better to talk about there's all size bodies. Some are larger, some smaller. The truth is, and some are average and some are extra large, some are extra small. The truth is the study after study shows is that it's our health behaviors that impact our long-term, quality of life. And I like to say our health habits really determine the quality of our life. And if someone is focused on the scale and on losing weight, on obesity, all of that, that's not moving the needle to shifting them into the person who they want to become, because their thoughts, again, and their thoughts and their emotions are creating those actions, right? And
Mhm.
if we're not having this feeling of, I'm empowered, I believe in myself, I'm capable, and there's all this disempowerment, you know, the side effect of that emotional state and those thoughts will not be to engage in healthy behaviors.
Yeah.
So it all comes down to the key is focusing on behaviors over the weight
Mm.
because that's where true health lies. And we really can't know. Some people may lose weight, but we can't know. I mean, there'll be health coaches and nutritionists that tell you lose this much, and you don't know someone's environment, lifestyle, genetics. You don't can't determine that. So instead of having such a tight fist held on that scale, you can let go and kind of focus on your core habits that make you feel good. I like to say chase the action and chase how you want to feel over the aesthetic.
Mm. Yes, I love that. And even when you said about brain power, so many times as a mental health therapist, and we start working with kids that can't focus, I do go right to what they're eating, how are they sleeping, right? That whole
Yes.
approach, because oftentimes they are the ones skipping lunch or they are skipping breakfast.
Mhm.
And like, well, you've got math and English first. Like, this is what's happening in these classes. And even as we go through the classes that are most difficult to focus in,
Mhm.
we start to see that relationship. So, Lauren, as we're closing out, what would be kind of your final thought tip? What would be your, if you could share anything with our parents, what would be that final nugget for them?
I think it's to think of your body as a car that needs fuel. And when you don't have fuel, you're going to run out of energy to do all the things that you want to do in this life. And if we don't nourish our body with a variety, with color, with strength, with brain power, all of the great things, we don't want to make the less nutrient food bad or guilty. We just want to invite them to support them to nourish their bodies and nourish their minds regularly throughout the day in a way that really will support the way that they want to feel and ask them more questions than telling them. I have a list of questions too that I can send out to your listeners as well. And I'll give you just one little great point. It's just, are you choosing foods that energize and fuel you? That's a great question for a parent to ask.
I love that. I love that. All right. So, as my listeners love, I have a joke of the day, our Laffy Taffy moment, Lauren. So, before you go,
Okay.
I torture all of my guests with their Laffy Taffy joke of the day because we do know that a joyful heart is good medicine, right? So, laughter helps us even in our physical wellness. So, here is, and I always tease, I actually do get these off of Laffy Taffy. They're always yellow because I'm going to eat them and I love bananas. So, all right. So, this one says, ready? Here we go. What's a school of peas? And that's peas, Peas. What's a school of peas?
What's a school of peas?
I know. It's an interesting answer, too. I'll be honest.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I give up.
It says a pea pod.
Okay, that's cute.
A
The
few
school
miles.
piece is nice. I love
All
that.
right. Well, Lauren, thanks for humoring us. So, how can our guests, our listeners, how can they get in touch with you? What are your socials? Where can they
Sure.
do? If it's a school listening, how can they get in touch
Yeah.
with you?
So
Share-
on Instagram, I am don't diet dietitian.
Love that.
And if you want to go to my website, I have different sections on there. My website is Lauren Dorman RD, as in registered dietitian. Remember, we talked about how important
Yeah.
that RD is. Lauren Dorman RD at gmail.com. And there are the different sections for children and families and for schools. In the children and family section, there is an opportunity to be a part of my email list with hundreds of families. And I do give lessons twice a month, and I'll give a workshop here and there for free. Lots of great free resources.
I love it. Great. Well, listeners, as we close out, before we go, I like to do our Love the Babies Well segment. In 1 Corinthians 10:31, it says, so whether you eat or drink or whatever you do all to the glory of God. And today we really reflected on this idea that food is actually really good for us. It gives us energy, gives us brain power, gives us strength. And it really is about creating a positive relationship with food. We want to make sure that we're teaching our children that it's not through restricted diets, it's not with labeling things as bad, but it's really through education, creating healthy lifestyles that we allow them to enjoy food till its fullest. Having family conversations can help to normalize what we eat. And also, as parents, just modeling really good choices. Thanks today, everybody, for tuning in to the Dr. Stacy Show. Until next time, keep the faith, love our babies, and pursue wellness.